Hello and welcome to episode 144 of DogCast Radio, which is our Crufts 2013 coverage, and we've sniffed out some great stories for you from the most prestigious pedigree dog show in the world. I was lucky enough to bump into Sarah Fisher on the very first morning of Crufts. Sarah is a TTouch Instructor and behaviour counsellor. She's an author and makes regular appearances on radio and TV. And now she's on DogCast Radio too.
I love Crufts, I love the atmosphere and the energy, and it's such a great place to meet lots of different people too.
Yeah.
So we've hooked up with friends from Wood Green, Trevor Cooper from Dog Law, Karen and Menteith, everyone from the Kennel Club, and it's just a lovely showcase of all the positive aspects of that great bond between dog and human.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, obviously yes, you've got a big show, it's the most prestigious dog show in the world in that way, but it is a celebration of all the aspects of dogs and the roles they take on for us, isn't it?
We've got so many different aspects of the world of dog here as well. We've got the charities, obviously Tony and I are involved in a lot of charitable work as well. Dogs for the disabled. You know, there's a representation from every area of the dog world, and it's really lovely seeing that being celebrated all under one roof.
Yeah. And I know you and Tony, you've been celebrating you've been supporting the bull breeds, haven't you? And celebrating as well the bull breeds.
Tony and I are definitely fans of the bull breeds. We own a Staffordshire Bull Terrier and also an English Bull Terrier mix that we adopted from Battersea about 6 years ago. And they make amazing dogs with the right home and with the right understanding and also the appropriate training.
Yeah.
And that's why schemes that the Kennel Club run promoting responsible dog ownership are so valuable. Teaching safety, dogs around children, it's such important information, and it's brilliant to be able to take that out to so many people through Crufts.
Yeah, it's a great platform, isn't it? Wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned the shopping.
I haven't even started yet. I do that last.
Yes.
Yeah. Last
and then
thing to do on the list. Tony can carry it. Yeah, definitely.
Cheers. Have a lovely time,
Thank
Sarah.
you. Lovely to see you.
You can find out more about Sarah at the website tillyfarm.co.uk, and as ever, all the relevant links are on the DogCast Radio website. Trainer Nick Jones, regular listeners will be familiar with him, was on the Dogs Monthly stand at Crufts, dispensing advice to dog owners.
I'm here fielding any questions that come about today with regards to behavioural training. So hopefully we've publicised it well enough and we get lots of people coming in and asking these questions. But I've been thankfully writing for the magazine for about 7 or 8 years now. And I've enjoyed that very much. So it's a natural partnership.
Yes, yeah. So have you had anybody call in and ask your advice yet?
Yes, I had one lady come in who was struggling with her dog. She lives all the way up in Scotland. She said she had a 10-hour drive to get here.
Wow.
So it's commitment for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It took me 1 hour, so I think that's a bit easier.
That's okay, yeah.
But interestingly, she was talking about an 18-month-old dog that was jumping up, grabbing her sleeve, and ruining her clothing. So it wasn't aggressive behaviour. It was more, I sense, inappropriate play, let's say.
Yeah. And sort of attention, do you think? Look at me, look
potentially,
at me.
yes. And we just looked at some simple ways in which she could make that less rewarding for the dog. Dog obviously thinks it's a plaything, which is all good and well, but when you've got a dog that comes up to your knee height doing that, it's not quite so much fun.
No. You can end up on the floor very quickly, can't you? Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to me how many of us with our dogs leave it till the problem becomes really bad till we go, help, I need help. It's easier if people come to you as early as they know there's a problem, isn't it?
Well, it is. The sooner the better. Naturally, my business tends to be a little bit of what we might call an obligatory purchase, or I'm sure there's a good phrase for it, but it's the sort of thing they come to me and they've tried other options. They may have been searching for a while on the internet, but to no avail. And whilst I don't claim to have the definitive answer for every case, what we can do is work together so that we can work through the different options, and between the two of us with communication come up with a way forward to help overcome that behaviour.
And I guess you have to tailor it to every person, every dog.
And that's really important. That I've always espoused that every dog and owner combination is unique. And this is the beauty of having one-to-one training, in that we can give the owner a bespoke package, if you like. But it takes into account their lifestyle on a working level, whether they have children or not, whether they live in a big house or a small house, whether they have a garden. So everything needs to be taken into account, and that's something we can do when we work together.
I mean, you often hear, it's always the owner, but that's not always a blame, like a you're getting it wrong thing. It's just in your situation, it might be better if you did this.
Yes, I think it's slightly unhelpful and unsympathetic, actually, to say, well, it's always the owner. Because, in fact, well, often it might be the owner, and some changes that the owner could implement that would help. Yeah. But, in fact, some dogs are genuinely difficult. And I've seen many owners that have either bred dogs or shown dogs for years, and one dog comes along that takes the biscuit.
Well, we're finding this. We've had a Labrador and Bichon line and a Border Collie. We've just gone,
I see
oh
the
my
pictures.
goodness, but it's so different, and it's a whole new approach. So it's helpful if you can get a good behaviourist and trainer to sort of say, try this, and you go, that works better, and that's what it's about.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'd like to take your questions, but I'd have to charge you.
I'm going then.
But I see the lovely picture. What's that collie's name?
Rusty. He's a red merle.
He looks gorgeous.
He does look gorgeous, but he is
and it's very interesting because what you've got is it a Bichon as well?
Bichon,
yeah. So you have three very, very different breeds, all coming at the dog life from completely different angles. Both in terms of their size and their mental sharpness and what they have as an agenda to do as a dog, in terms of what they're bred to do. So you have an interesting household.
We do. You could call it that. Interesting. We'll leave it at interesting.
In inverted commas. Yes,
definitely. But Crufts is a great, vehicle to get your message out about training and helping people, isn't it?
It is, and it continues for me to be a genuine core passion to help people to have a good relationship with their dogs. It's not actually overly difficult in achieving that, but inevitably when we live with a dog, they have become a part of the family, and some rules and boundaries can become a bit blurred. And that's where, again, coming back to the earlier point we were saying about it's always the owners, as an outsider coming into a household, I can be a little detached and offer some advice that we can... the advice is often easy to offer. The difficulty can be interweaving that so it works with the family. I spoke to a lady yesterday who said, well, my dog sleeps on the end of the bed. I don't particularly have a problem with it. Neither do I'd like to say. But we were discussing some ways in which she could get the dog off the bed. But she said the difficulty will be with the family, getting them to be consistent with it. So if you talk to anybody that does my type of profession, you will get similar responses because we're working with owners in their homes. But I'm very pro working with owners, being sympathetic, being cooperative, and that is far more productive way of achieving things. It's no good berating people or making them feel bad because they've been doing something.
Then, don't they?
Exactly. So we're here to help, aren't we?
Definitely. And are you enjoying Crufts so far? No, okay, well, oh dear, never mind.
Crufts is great. I've been coming here for a few years. Thankfully, I see a different side of Crufts where it is a little bit more work-related, but I still love it. I love the people. I love seeing people like you, Julie, and it gives us that opportunity to, catch up.
Yes.
It's a funny game, isn't it?
And unite and get the right message out.
Absolutely. Hurrah.
Where can people find out more about you online, Nick?
Thank you. Well, I'm online, of course. My main website is alphadogbehaviour.co.uk. Facebook I've been enjoying more this year, so it's facebook.com/Alpha Behaviour.
Very good.
Twitter, my username is UK Dog Trainer, and I won't go through any more.
You're not on Google Plus?
Oh yes, Google Plus.
Right, yes.
Well, actually, I'm not sure. If you put in Alpha Dog Behaviour on Google Plus, I will also come up there.
Brilliant.
So if you look most places online, you'll find me. But my website is a nice central resource. In fact, my website is just due for another little refresh shortly.
Well, we'll look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Well, best of luck today with all the questions you're going to think.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
And you, Nick. Bye.
Nick's always fun as well as informative. Dr. Claire Guest is the Chief Executive of Medical Detection Dogs. She's trained some amazing, life-changing dogs, and she shared on DogCast the story of how her dog in training, Daisy, detected her own breast cancer, very probably saving Claire's life. She was launching a new initiative at Crufts.
We're really excited about it because there's already been a study that indicates dogs can smell breast cancer from a breath sample. And we've started doing work on cancer with breath tubes, and we're finding that dogs are able to do it really easily. I actually had breast cancer myself 2 years ago, and my consultant and breast surgeon are very, very keen to do a study looking at whether we can identify early stage breast tumours from a breast tube.
Because yours wouldn't have been picked up, would it?
Indeed.
Unless the dog had
absolutely
indicated.
And a very, very deep breast cancer, which if I hadn't been warned by one of the working dogs, I would have had a very poor prognosis. Yeah. Because by the time I had felt it would have been very advanced.
Yeah.
So obviously the key, as we know, to survival is early detection. Yeah. And the team in our local NHS region are very keen to do a study to find out whether or not dogs are able to identify this early grading stage from a breath sample. So we're really excited and looking forward to training dogs. So the first dogs have started to be in training. So Joby here has just started to work. He's 8.5 months. He's just learning what it smells like.
Yeah.
So bless him. We've got a long way to go, because one of the major things of doing a good study is good sample collection. Yeah. So we need to collect many, many samples. So possibly I'll be coming back next year and telling you sort of how we progress, but it's going to be a year's work. We want to get a lot of samples to make sure the dogs are screening a whole range of other conditions.
And make sure they're recognising and reacting to the right things. So are you looking for volunteers to sort of breathe in tubes?
Indeed, actually. Certainly in the when you get into the clinical trial bit, every tube the dog breathes screens has to have gone through the same process. But in the training phase, actually, the more training samples we can get, the better. And the more variety, where in the country they've come from, age of persons they've come from, what person's diet might have been, the more variety we can get, the better it is for our training. So if anybody actually did want to offer, or, had sadly had a diagnosis, but want to sort of blow into some tubes, that would be very, very valuable to us. The one thing I would say is that these days, once you've had a diagnosis of breast cancer, you're normally treated very quickly. And the one thing is that we can't take samples from people who are actually undergoing treatment.
Right,
because we don't know what's happened to there's probably an odour change, the cancer will be changing, and obviously we don't want to confuse the dog by doing that. So it's quite a small window where somebody could offer a sample, so it would be,
So you are looking for people who already have breast cancer?
Have breast cancer, but haven't yet been treated. Perhaps they're waiting for surgery or treatment.
This is an amazing development, though, because presumably then the dogs can be used to screen.
Well, indeed, and we've got a team of dogs in it. When I say team, it sounds very posh. We've got 2 dogs in a hospital in Italy, and they are actually working in the hospital. But those dogs are actually screening for prostate, renal, and bladder cancer. I'm going to put this dog down.
We're just leaving the dog. The Italians do seem very open to using because don't they use the Newfoundlands that dive out of helicopters to rescue people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in a way it's a bit of a wake up call for us, because in the UK, we love our dogs. We use dogs in a whole variety of ways, but there's still some reticence to use them in certain settings. And in Italy, there isn't this reticence. And part of the reason when we started to work over there, we travel out fairly frequently. And it's twofold, really. The reason we do this work is obviously it's great for the patients that the dogs are saving in the Italian hospital, but actually we're learning so much because we have the opportunity to take dogs into a real setting, and they're given samples from somebody that's sitting 2 rooms away. I mean, they never meet the person. They screen the sample and give an answer. But, in Italy, in this particular hospital, they use dogs not just as pat dogs. So these dogs aren't just coming in to have, to be patted and obviously hugely importantly to improve that person's psychological well-being. But actually what they're doing is the physios will use them as an integrated part of their programme. So if that person has to, has had a stroke, and needs to stretch their arm 20 times, they put a dog in front of them. So they lean to the dog. Exactly. Now, we actually don't integrate it in the UK in this way. A dog wouldn't be used as an integral part of physiotherapy. It might come in to visit. So in fact, the next step of using a dog to screen a sample for them was, well, why not? you know,
Brilliant.
we don't use it. The dog doesn't become the doctor.
No,
And I think that's the important part.
It's another diagnostic tool, isn't it?
Yeah. The doctor still makes a decision. The doctor looks at the results of what the dog thought and what the other test thinks. So the doctor still makes that decision of where to go. So
fascinating.
It's all very exciting.
Yeah, it is, because it's going to help so many people and give hope and help people survive, isn't it?
And the dogs love it, of course. I mean, the dogs that we've got out there, one's a Labrador and one's a Spaniel Cross. They're both bonkers anyway. And they absolutely love hunting. So if they weren't hunting for this, they'd be hunting for something else.
Dogs love to have a purpose, don't they?
So and they live on the bottom of a mountainside, so they go for a lovely run every morning. So
sounds wonderful. Where can people find out more about this online?
Well, if they go to our website, www.medicaldetectiondogs.org.uk, we're sort of uploading new information as often as we can. And I mean, there's so much work to be done, and also our medical assistance dogs program is developing very, very quickly. We've got a 4-year waiting list at the moment, but coming down because we're lucky. We just got a new instructor, so we've got more dogs in training. So we're going to place more dogs than ever this year, and it's all very exciting.
One of the lovely things about dogs is that they haven't got a clue, and they don't care a bit about how famous someone is. But it never hurts to have a celebrity highlighting a good cause, does it? Actor Tony Head, who's Uther in the BBC's Merlin series, or Rupert Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, was at Crufts highlighting the Kennel Club's Bark and Read scheme.
It's a simple premise, basically, that a dog is non-judgmental. You bring it into a school where if there are children who are insecure and are struggling with reading, they find it incredibly therapeutic and very easy to read to the dog. And the dog becomes their friend. And so it's extraordinary. They have I guess they just don't feel they're being judged. And
just
so
having the dog there is calming, isn't it? But actually getting some
I mean, dogs are incredibly therapeutic. I was just saying to the person who was sitting there a minute ago, I love watching, when you see a dog walking along the street, you just look at the connection between them and their owner. When they look up at the owner, it just melts my heart.
It's magic, isn't it?
It just really is. I love dogs. So dogs love working. They love having a job to do, and it's a great symbiotic relationship. It's just a great way of them helping the children, and in so doing something themselves.
It's great actually to see a greyhound here doing this, because a lot of people think greyhounds are marathon runners and they need exercise all day long.
No,
and it's not the truth.
No, we had a wonderful lurcher, but they are the best couch potatoes in the world. They'll leg it for about 10 minutes, and then they'll lie down. And they lie down for the rest of the time.
That's a bit like me, except without the 10 minutes.
But he is very chilled, bless him.
Yes, he's very laid back. If schools or any young people's organisation are listening to this, can they ask for a visit from a reading dog?
They can do, And
who do they ask?
You can go to the Kennel Club through their Bark and Read scheme, and they'll organise for one of the groups to get a dog to go into their school to visit.
Smashing. And I mean, Danny, we met Danny and he was like, yeah, cheers. But when the kids arrived, he was like, wow, and he's completely different reaction. He obviously enjoys it.
He loves it, and the kids love him. It's the human-animal bond. That's what it's all about.
And also there's an innocence about children. I mean, there's a knowingness about children, but with an animal, there really is an instant connection.
It's lovely. And are you enjoying Crufts so far?
Yes.
You haven't been here that long.
It's huge. I am slightly staggered by the size of it, I must admit. I mean, I've been to Crufts before, but it is extraordinary.
You do need comfortable shoes, don't you?
You certainly do. Well, I was just saying that someone ought to hire out Segways. But Sarah said, can you imagine the accidents?
Well, And if you've got a little dog with you trying to keep up,
I wouldn't suggest being on a Segway with a dog.
You wouldn't. Let's make that clear. Anthony Head is not suggesting.
I'm not advocating.
No, we have to be clear about that before
Don't
we get
try
in trouble.
it at home.
Enjoy the rest of Crufts.
Thank you very much.
The Heel Work to Music performances at Crufts always draw a huge crowd, and this year Jenny Deakin led the Kennel Club's activity Heel Work to Music team. I spoke to a couple of their members. The first one coming up now is Julia Moss with her musical Malamute, Memphis.
She'll be 9 at the end of April.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks young, doesn't she?
We're both middle-aged now, but she looks better than I do.
The best of us are.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing heel work to music?
Well, since she was about a year. So it's about 8 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And she's a Malamute.
She's an Alaskan Malamute.
Yeah, and how do you motivate an Alaskan Malamute?
Mainly food.
It is, yeah.
Yes. Not interested in toys. Has to be food. Sausage and cheese.
Yeah.
Or coffee walnut gatto is the favourite.
You've obviously experimented.
Yes, she's a bit of a muffin hound. She likes cakes. So.
Oh, bless her. Well, with all that dancing, she keeps the weight off, though, doesn't she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We do a lot of exercise and keep the weight down. Yeah.
You obviously enjoy it as well, because you put a lot of energy into it. That was a fantastic routine.
Yeah, I do ham things up.
Yes, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
I'm actually the comedy element of the dog dancing world, because whenever we go to shows, we just make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Because she sings and I dance, and generally it all goes haywire, but everybody laughs.
But the thing,
we have fun.
It does. I mean, I've stood at that ring with the biggest smile on my face that I have at any ring that I've stood at Crufts.
The aim is to have fun.
Yeah.
If you have fun, your dog enjoys it and they have fun.
Yeah.
So we just have a good time.
Do you think it helps to sort of have that creative streak in you?
I suppose, because it helps you work out routines and what to do, because there's 4 different divisions you can do, and you've got to think up different routines and different styles for each division.
Yeah.
So, the dances division is different to the freestyle division and things like that, and you've got to think what music suits the dog, their pace, what do you like, what do you like dancing to, and then you have to choreograph it. So you do have to sort of think about all that.
Yeah.
And it takes
and sometimes costume.
Yeah, gotta have costume. Got to dress up, definitely. Because I do panto as well, so dressing up is my thing.
With Memphis or?
No,
not yet.
Not yet. No, I'm trying to persuade the director to have a dancing dog in it.
Yeah, definitely. And do you do heel work to music competitions?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
We do shows, yeah. We're not great, I will say. We generally don't win, but we have fun.
That's the thing. It's about having fun. Yeah. It's the relationship with your dog, and obviously the camaraderie between you guys as well.
It's a lovely group of people. Everybody's great. Everybody helps you out if you're struggling with things. People give you help and advice and encouragement. And I've got a really lovely dancing group in the New Forest that I dance with.
Yeah.
And I would say that our southern team has won the Inter-Regional Championship 2 years in a row.
Brilliant. Well done.
So and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, and rightly so. And I mean, you've shown whatever breed you've got.
This is it, because Malamutes aren't easy. They take a lot of training. They're very independent. They just do things when they want to. Yeah. So if I can do it with a Malamute, anybody can do it, basically.
Yeah.
So I would recommend anybody to go out there, whatever breed they've got, go and do it, have some fun.
Yeah.
And just, have a good time.
Yeah, well, you were fantastic, and we're going to try and get your routine on as well. We'll put a link onto that. Where can people find your Southern team online? Is there a website?
If you look at DogKind Training School, that's the lady Jan that runs that. She's the manager for the Southern team.
Yeah, so dogkind.co.uk?
Yeah, .co.uk. Yeah.
Brilliant.
She organises the Southern team for everybody, and she's, we've won it twice now. So I'm really pleased.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing your routine, because it really put a smile on my face.
And I'm glad I made everybody laugh. That's my aim. To cheer everybody up.
You've succeeded.
Yeah,
thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
One of the dogs on the team is deaf. Here's owner Sandra Hallam to tell us about her talented deaf spaniel, Henry.
Yes, Henry's deaf. He went deaf about 2 years ago. He was already dancing, but when he went deaf, I just assumed he wouldn't be able to do it anymore.
Yeah. So, as a human, you do assume, don't you?
Yeah, I just thought, well, that's that. We can't dance anymore. But he was really miserable without it. So, and I danced with another dog.
Yeah.
And he saw me training her. And that made things even worse.
Oh, bless him.
So I just decided that there must be a way around it, and we'd have a go.
Yeah. So how, obviously, he's not going to hear you giving verbal commands.
No, that's
so how do you work around it with him?
What we do is we started to learn sign. I thought, well, dancing is about movement and body language, and some of the moves actually are using your hands and your legs anyway. So I thought, well, if we can convert that to a sign that actually means a specific move. So there were very obvious moves to start with, and then bit by bit we've made them more subtle so that they becomes part of the dance.
Yes, yeah. And of course dogs do read body language well anyway.
Yes.
So it's not the huge adjustment it would be for a person, is it?
I don't think so, no. And obviously, to teach him some basic commands, you can use very obvious signals.
Yeah.
So for commands in the house, so for sit, I use a fist just to give him an obvious sign. A recall, you can use your arms wide open, and you can use some very exaggerated signs, which is what we started with.
Yeah.
Then I realised we could make them a little bit more subtle and move it on a little bit.
Yeah. And how do you praise a deaf dog?
I praise him. Well, his reward is always food. He loves food. So any bits of, I make him salmon cake, liver cake. He loves a bit of roast pork, a bit of roast chicken. But in order to get that, he doesn't move. To be told that he's got the move right, I give him a thumbs up, then he knows the reward's coming.
Yeah.
And then if I'm teaching another move, what I'm trying to do, so if I'm indoors and trying to teach a more complicated move, maybe he's looking away from me, so maybe I'm wanting to go away from it. I'm using torchlight.
Yeah.
So I've actually started to use torchlight so that he can move ahead of me. I can show him the torchlight, and then I can send the food in the right direction. So he still knows he's getting the well done, good boy reward mark, and then he knows the food's on its way.
That's so clever.
So we're finding ways all the time of how to do it. Yes.
And I mean, you've been so successful. You were featured in a TV show over Christmas in the UK, weren't you?
That's right.
That Dog Can Dance.
We were. Yes.
What was that like?
Well, we actually went to audition just for the fun and the experience, and were absolutely surprised and delighted when we were selected as one of the 5 contestants. And he was amazing, absolutely amazing. And we came 3rd. And he was an absolute superstar, and he coped so well with all of it. Yeah. But the crew were very good. They really understood about his deafness. So because he feels a lot of vibrations. So what we try and do is make sure he's experienced the vibration of the music, say, before he actually performs. Yeah. So we always make sure he's heard the music in that environment beforehand, felt the vibrations, and has a little practice.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. You're clever, Henry. And I know, I mean, it's a great message to get out that, disabled dogs, can still achieve, and they're trainable, and they can have fun and live a normal life, can't they?
They certainly can. In fact, Henry's been invited by the Deaf Dog Network, called the DDN, and they're a charity, and they're trying to help a lot of deaf dogs and help to teach them some signs and get them some experience in some basic training, and Henry's going to help them with that, doing some demonstrations. Yes. So yes, the word's getting out there that deaf dogs can work by sign language.
Excellent. And I know Henry lives in a very mixed pack, doesn't he?
He does indeed. Yes, he's got his 2 girls, 2 tricolour cavaliers, and then he lives also with 3 Bernese mountain dogs, one of which also dances.
Oh.
But they all get on superbly, absolutely brilliantly. Yeah.
Lovely. Thanks ever so much, and thanks for showing us Henry's routine.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
The Blue Cross is a wonderful charity with a very interesting history. It's well worth looking them up and finding out more about them. Tracy Jennifer is the Education Development Manager, and she told me how the Blue Cross supports grieving pet owners, which is that time when many of us need that little bit extra support.
We've got a helpline, and anyone anywhere in the UK can ring up. We're open from 8:30 to 8:30 every day of the year. People who are bereaved, their pet has died, or perhaps they have to give up their pet. They might have had to give it up for rehoming, for instance, or they're about to lose their pet. Maybe their pet's ill, and perhaps they don't have anyone to talk to. Sometimes people find that people are very nice to them to start with, and then they're fed up with it. It's only a dog, or it's only a cat. And so to have someone that's trained to listen is really nice for them, and they can talk as long as they like.
I mean, that's a really important point to make, that yes, when you lose them it's horrible, but I mean, with our buddy, our Labrador, last year, we thought we were coming very close to losing him, and we didn't know, and the future was very unseeable, and I didn't know whether he'd still be with us. Luckily he is, and I had family to talk to. But that is a time when you really need someone who understands what you're going through, isn't it?
Yeah, and all of our volunteers who ran the helpline, they're all trained, but they've also all experienced pet loss themselves, and so they are very sympathetic to what people are going through, and say happy to listen, and people can go through all sorts of stages from being sad, but also being angry, and so those sort of things, they can help them through those by listening to them and clarifying how people really think about things. The other thing we find is people might phone on behalf of somebody else, trying to help someone else through it. It might be their children that are really having trouble because the cat's died and they don't know what to tell the children, or they don't know how to help them through that time. And so we have got some leaflets that people can use as well, but things like memory boxes, or painting pictures of the animal, or putting all their treasured things, belongings and photographs into one little basket or something might really help them.
Yeah, because initially it's so painful, you almost want to sort of shut off from it and not think about it. But you do need to sort of work through it and commemorate them, don't you?
Yes, and we've actually got also memorials online on the Blue Cross website, so people can write a little piece about their animal, maybe put a picture up about them, and I have heard people find that really helpful. I just wonder how many tears are shed when people are typing those up, but they find it's really a nice way of saying that animal did exist and sharing how they felt about it. You just reminded me of Ted Kerasoti, who wrote Merle's Door, and it was about his dog Merle, and all his readers have sort of taken Merle into their hearts. But he said that was part of his grieving process, to write Merle's autobiography. So it does help, doesn't it? It's very therapeutic. It does, and some people feel that they won't be able to speak to a stranger, but they'd like, but then they can put an email. So we have an email service. So whereas we take about 6,000 calls a year, we take about 1,000 emails, and people can tell them how they felt on the email. And one of the things that people find really reassuring is that it's really natural what they're feeling. Their grief is real, and it's like losing a friend. It is losing a friend that they've loved, and so why wouldn't they feel sad about it?
It's not till you go through it yourself that you kind of understand how you can feel, am I entitled to this grief? It's like a tsunami, isn't it? And you think, but it's for a dog, am I really entitled to have this?
And people will feel that they might have. A friend of mine had lots of different dogs, and actually one dog in particular was the one that she couldn't get over. It was a sudden loss, so there was a shock involved, but she found it really hard to come to terms with that, and that may be where you need that little bit of extra support by phoning up somebody and talking to them about it.
People do talk about heart dogs, don't they? These special dogs that really have a special place. It does seem you click extra well with some dogs.
And we get people phoning up about all different types of animals. Mostly it is dogs and cats, but also horses, parrots, and obviously parrots can live 50 years. Imagine that loss. So people can phone up about anything they want, and we're happy to talk to them about that.
If it's been part of your life every day, it's a loss, isn't it? Whether it's a gerbil or a goldfish, or as you say, a parrot that's been with you years and years.
That's right.
If someone's looking for that kind of support, where can they find out more online?
If they go onto the Blue Cross website, it's bluecross.org.uk. We've got, under the pet advice thing, there's things about the helpline, about the email line. There's our literature, there's leaflets like this one, that can help you if you just want to read about something to support somebody. And the pet memorials are on there as well.
Great. Are you having a good Crufts?
Very good. It's nice to come somewhere quiet.
We're on Saturday at the moment. It's crazy.
It really is.
But it's a great way to get your message out.
It is, It's Blue Cross need to be here,
definitely. Thanks for your time, Tracy.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Julie.
the rest of Crufts.
Cheers.
Have you ever seen a party poodle? No, not a poodle looking for a good time. A poodle with mixed colouring. Well, one caught my eye at Crufts, and I found out more from owner Sarah Bingham.
Well, he is a purebred poodle, which is Kennel Club registered, but on his registration, the colour will be non-recognised. Now, they're called party-coloured poodles, and poodles were this colour, as well as solids, right back in history. Poodles are a very old, established breed. And this
they were for hunting, weren't they?
Exactly. A very versatile dog.
And an active...
Very active. Blaze is here to do a promotion for agility, which he absolutely loves. And they use them for field tries, gun dogs. Very, very versatile, strong, healthy breed.
But the colour
Right, the colour. Well, poodles used to be, back in history, this colour as well as solid. There's a lot of artwork going 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century depicting poodles as two colours.
Yeah.
But as far as research with the Kennel Club shows, that around the 1900, it was decided by breed clubs, presumably, that the colour was undesirable. So when they occurred in litters, they were culled. So when we got to about the 1980s, to our knowledge, there were no standard party-coloured poodles back in this country.
Yeah.
It is a natural recessive gene, cropped up again in America. So I love my poodles, love the colour as well as my solids.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a party poodle in from America.
So when we say recessive, both parents have to have that party gene, otherwise it won't occur in the puppies. Okay, yeah. I mean, he looks beautiful to me.
Thank you.
But
I am a little biased.
Yeah. I guess it's part of the fashions and bandwagons in a way, isn't it? That some things are acceptable.
There aren't any other health issues. It's purely a colour issue.
There's no health problems that are carried with it.
Unfortunately, they have exactly the same health issues as their colour, the solid counterpart. I love all, but I think it's fascinating. I just think it's a lovely colour, and he just happens to be a lovely dog who I adore. Though I do have solids at home as well, but he's a bit special.
And he's here doing agility?
He's here on behalf of the Kennel Club doing an agility demonstration in the ring over here.
So he's very much fit for purpose, isn't he?
Very much fit for purpose, and he competes. He even won in 2011 the UK Tug Enough Grand Finals, where the semi-finals were over the country, and he actually won the finals. Tug Enough is a brand name for agility.
I've got a team of poodles doing the tug of war there.
Yeah,
that's
what. Absolutely. But we do use tug toys to get them into
it's a great,
come on,
great motivation.
A motivation.
Okay, so tell me, where can people find out more about you and your dogs?
We have
online?
the Party Poodle Club, which I am the chairman of, which if they'd like to go onto the internet and put in the Party Poodle Club, party being P-A-R-T-I, because it means party coloured.
Not out for a good time.
We are out for a good time, but yes, it's party coloured as used in other breeds as well, that term of knowledge the Kennel Club use. But at the moment, on his pedigree says non-recognised.
Oh dear.
And yet he's very recognisable.
He is.
Mr. Breezy.
He's certainly attracted our attention.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our Crufts 2013 coverage. Do check the DogCast Radio website because we have some extra interviews there that are audio only. Our next show will include an interview with Dr. Brian Hare about his citizen science investigation into dog intelligence, Dognition, and could Reiki help your dog? Well, you can hear more about that from Rob Fellows, who's a Reiki master. Until next time, look after yourselves and your dogs.